Close it. What is the latest out there in the world of Let's just go with that. Uh, apparently my phone has an update. I'm going to kick it off while I do this. At least I thought it did. Huh, maybe not. Okay, we don't need to worry about it. I thought I had an update, but so problems that I had the last couple of days, some of them are now fixed. I have now moved on to new issues. I've ironed out a few of the problems I was running into. One of which was, you may have been here when I was struggling to get my roster loading correctly. That is now fixed. It's now loading the way it should be. There's still a lot of little tweaks and stuff. I mean, I haven't got all the data points and everything loading on it correctly. That's really just a matter of, it was first, let's just get the cards on the screen. But now I've got them on the screen. I've got them loading their data points that they do have. And so we're slowly getting a little bit better there. I also was having an issue with game plan yesterday. There's always something, right? Let's see. And game plan wasn't loading the editor. I have an edit screen now. I decided to do that instead of inline editing because the inline editing was, for one, not very mobile friendly. I thought it was too tiny. It's going to make it so I had to make a really big list of things, and I didn't want that to be a hindrance for someone using it. Trying to click on certain fields, and yeah, it wasn't good. So I decided to actually just build. I always feel this giant Red Bull. I didn't even know they made them this big. Aren't they usually tiny, like 8-10 ounces? But I got this for free, so it's 190 milligrams of caffeine. Actually, I thought Red Bull had more than that, to be honest. That's not even as much as a Ghost. I always thought that Red Bull was like a leader in the caffeine world. But it turns out, not so much. All right, so let's do this as a review. We'll call this a review day. What have I got? Where am I going? How are things going? Okay, so let's see. Let's start it up. Let's do that first. So we got fan. Wait, what? That's okay. Just making sure I don't have multiple windows open. So we're gonna kick off all of my services. Things I've done so far. I've been working with AI a little bit lately to build out the infrastructure a little bit. So I've been doing some tech debt. What the tech debt I built in was a unit testing infrastructure that actually allows me to run tests against live data and doesn't add, delete, or do anything to the data, but it will read that data to make sure it's valid and check on flows and that kind of thing. And it'll read real data when it's trying to see if things are pulling data correctly, if things are populating, that kind of thing. We need to make sure that we're getting full data points where it's available. Also, it'll do things like test for processing and anything else that can be done without destroying data. And if it does have to create data, it'll create its own. If it does have to test data in a way that it removes it, deletes it, it's actually being set up. The way I've set up the few tests that do that, it creates data and then dumps the data. It basically creates a transaction type setup where it sets it up, marks it, does its actions against it, and then clears out whatever it's done. So it just allows it to leave the system clean wherever we're at in any state. So most of the times I'll do all these tests in a test pre-prod environment, but every now and then if something goes wrong, there will be a set of tests that are really there to be validating balance. I have a number of tests I'm building and designing to do balance testing to make sure that we're getting the kind of results we're expecting from the leagues on the whole, to kind of make sure that we're not getting skewed. A little bit like, obviously, if you play Marvel Snap, they're always talking about how, well, these decks are doing this and this doing this, and they're getting played in this, and so because they can read what cards are in everybody's decks and which ones are winning all the time, and if they're just trying to keep things, and they blame some cards inaccurately. I think there's times when they're going, this card since inception has been doing exceptionally well, and it's been in winning decks. I'm like, well, it's just because it's a cheap add-in. It hasn't made those decks better. They were already good. So I don't know. And they say, oh, this is too good. And it's like, well, all right, well, all you're doing is making it so that they don't want to play it at all, because maybe it was cutting it in. I don't know, whatever. But besides that, so the other thing I did was a logging system. And I wanted to start getting to the point where I have a system where my controller or my console logging can go to the database. So if I'm in production, I can turn off all logging if I want to everywhere. And then I can enable it in certain locations, services, functions, whatever, and have it say, okay, well, everything for these items, log it, because I'm having issues and I want to see what's happening. Why is this service or function or whatever blowing up? And so I can turn that on, and whenever people are hitting it and they encounter the error, I can maybe capture some data and some data points that are creating that error. And so I automatically am trying to set up anything that's an error. Errors just always get logged. But I have additional console logs that right now are being passed through my system logger, and they can be turned on. So I can actually have it turn on all my system logs, which will provide additional data points, things that are flowing through, what's happening exactly throughout the system to make sure that we're getting a good trace, and hopefully make it so I can fix something quickly, just in case I did something and broke it, which I hope I don't do, but it's possible, I guess. Rumor has it, I can make mistakes too. I don't know. I don't know how that is. I mean, AI makes mistakes, but me, I fix AI mistakes. I don't break them. But anyway, and beyond that, we are attempting. I'm going to try and load this. Now, this takes a little bit of time while I load the actual system. Other things I've completed, I've got my play editor. Now, the play editor is not at this moment planned to be in the final release of this game. It's a thing that's going to take some time, but I mostly use it to build the plays that are going into the system. It only the reason it's not going to be, it works for me because I know its quirks, the things that it doesn't do, and how to set it up, because there's certain things that I know how the system expects certain things to be, and it just means a lot more things I have to add to it to make the framework solid enough to let the general public go at it and not break it. And also, I have built a play namer, which I'll probably have to utilize to block, to allow me to have some control over the nomenclature. Plus, honestly, there's plenty of you guys out there that are great. You're awesome. But there are some other people. All of my followers, all the people who, love football, are not going to do dumb things. You're gonna be good people. You're gonna name things properly. But those other guys, those few that get their hands on the game through some nefarious means, they'll put names in on plays that are stupid. Now, then I have to start making plays be about something only one person can use. The play they create is their play, right? No one else is going to use it. But then I have to start tracking who owns the play and which ones go in their playbook, and it just becomes a lot of stuff that I'm not sure is what I want. It is cool, the idea of being able to give people that. Plus, it is definitely not mobile friendly. It's just way too finicky to be done on a mobile device. Right now, it's a website device. The other thing is website only is the streamer tool, but I think I might convert that to run on the PC version. Now, why not the mobile version? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it with the mobile version. Maybe. I mean, it's not that it's hard to. It's not graphically going to be non-mobile friendly. It's just because I'm not sure how a mobile device. The whole point of the streamer version is so that a streamer could be streaming while running the game in the corner or something, and their viewers will be able to interact with the game by chat, which I don't think is really a mobile thing, right? I mean, it's like if you're streaming it from your mobile device, yes, they could still interact with it through their chat, but when are you streaming in that scenario? It's like you create it and then you stream on your PC. I mean, I guess you could. I don't know. That's something I have to work out. Anyway, so what I've been working on is trying to clean up some of the little things that kind of broke over time. And it's not all fixed, all cleaned up, but it's better. I've done a number of things to try to fix how certain parts were running. So the game plan editor was one of them, and let's go and turn this off now because I don't need it at the moment. There's a weirdity that I still haven't fixed. I've got a number of little weirdities that I'm trying to work out the problem to. I gotta make sure all these loaded before I continue. Okay, so we're good. Yep, everybody's running. Not sure why simulator. Oh, simulator is not. Simulator's got an error. And coach probably has the same error. Okay, so I have a thing I had. One of the refactors I recently did was, oops, that's the wrong one. One of the refactors I recently did, I got to go look at my Claude. This is not Claude. This is Copilot. Let's go back. Oh, here we go. My something broke. That's not the one, though. I actually fixed the something broke. That one can go away. So I didn't realize, but Claude CLI does not allow you to attach images. And if you know a way to attach an image to Claude CLI, by all means, let me know what it is, because it doesn't work here. If there's another way, I tried to drop and paste, it just ignores me. So that's interesting. Oh, interesting. Oh, weird. Can I just clear? What do you mean there's no content? What is all this? That's content. What are you talking about? I don't know. Okay, well, anyway, it doesn't clear. Okay, so let's resume. I'm gonna try to have it fix this while I'm talking here, because this is just oops. Which one do I want? Times find settings, click broken fix, code document, Claude. Blocking when process navigation button manager works and calling the roster. Oh, I guess it's not in this. Can you get a sim type panel? And I click keep situation row, situation code based documentation, Claude, user account testing, imports collection auth. Oh, that must have been a Copilot Copilot error or mess thing I did. Let's go look at the history here. Consolidating player data fetching. Oh, okay. This is the one. All right. Simulator and coach service are still getting errors related to this update. One of the nice things about having two services running, and one of them being Copilot, one of them being Claude, is that I can use Opus more. I rarely ever use Opus because it actually burns through credits faster. But it is a better model. Most people use it if they can. So, by the way, I live in the northwest of the U.S., and I go to this. I'm doing a play. I'm doing Romeo and Juliet. I am not either, but I am a major player. I'm an important player in the play, so I show up a number of times, and I have some of the longest monologues in the play. Places where I go off on one thing or the other. If you happen to be near Applause Studio, it's a small thing. There's only like 50 people even room for. It's a lot of the cast is young people, young like teenagers, high school, just out of high school, early 20s. There's like 3 people who are older. Let's just say they're my age, oldish, not old, just older. But anyway. Just saying, if you happen to be there, Applause Studio, live in the area, feel free to get tickets. They're next week, not this weekend, next week. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm going to be my 3rd play. This will be my biggest monologues, but not I was a lead in the last play. I was like the main guy. So I was in a lot of the scenes, but I had a lot less monologues. So what does that mean? I don't know. Guess we'll see. Hopefully I just get it done. I feel like I do all right, but sometimes that nervousness can kind of freeze your brain, which kind of sucks when that happens. Don't let your brain freeze. Don't let your brain freeze because it's not fun to have brain freeze. All right. Okay, so review. Let's start this puppy up. So this will complain because it does. That's one of the things it does. It's because I have 2 services not running. And it's probably going to say, hey, you got 2 services that aren't running. That was one of the other things I recently built in. I built in a service health checker. That was mostly for me because I kept forgetting to start the services. And I wanted this to say all the services are currently unavailable. Right now it's just simulator. I don't know why it doesn't see coach. I know coach isn't running either. It doesn't matter. I'm not using either one of them at this moment. So now you might notice I have this funky purple thing. It's not purple. It's blue, but it's sitting on top of a background that's turning it purple. I think, unless I was wrong. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be blue, but I think it's this weird coloring that's turning it purple. What this is I added this option. This is the sim type selector. And normally when this is working correctly, which right now it is not, but I'll get that taken care of. You click on one of these, it pops up the length of game. And so I do have this already set to do that. And it just has a little thing that comes up in the highlight. This is one of the things I was trying to iron out the kinks. I see it's not as purple now. It's on top of a blue scene, which is what I was hoping to do. I want to put a regular sky behind my my screen here on my main screen. I haven't done too much with the accounts page yet. Really, all you can do is you could delete your account and you can log out. But there's a couple bugs there, so I got to kind of go just down the list and slowly start knocking things off because I have a few things here that just need to be cleaned up. Keep getting it solid. If we go here, this is the game plan, and it's a click hold scenario. So if you click on it, it pops up. This is what it is. It shows you what play you have as the play type. The favored plays. This is stuff is what I'm planning to work on next. I need to get this working completely so that I can go in here. It's not supposed to turn off when I click on it. That's a thing. It's only supposed to turn off when you click outside of it. But right now it's click anywhere and it shuts off. So that's a problem. One of the quirks, I need to fix that. Then I can, once I get to here, theoretically these will work. I should be able to click on the delete and it will dump that line, or at least ask you to confirm, and it'll delete the line. You should not be able to delete lines that are not yours. If you did not create the line, it shouldn't delete. So all these you see here, which are supposed to be default, shouldn't be deletable. So those are things I've got to iron out too. The things I need to work most on are playbook and game plan. Right now, these plays are all default plays. These are all the plays in the system. So you can filter it out by which player. You won't see all the plays in the system when the game gets started. I'm hoping to have roughly, I'd like to have 50 to 100 plays in the system when the game starts. Default play will have a handful. The team will have a few to go with that, and those will be in your playbook already. And technically, they're always in your playbook. They're not really removable. But if your own personal one, you can then take some of the other plays you have and add them to the playbook. There are a couple games I've seen that do it kind of similarly. This one is, you can add your own plays, remove your own plays. If you try to remove a play that's not yours, it'll tell you. This is a team default play. Or it'll just be a play you can't remove. Locked plays. And they are different for different teams in theory, in time. Right now, all the teams are sharing the same default team playbook. But we'll get that. Right now, when you click on these, they zoom, give you more details. What I want to do is get this so that you can right click on it or whatever, hold on it to make it go into your playbook. And so that becomes a play that you're adding to your playbook. Also, there will be a back on these. You can click on them and it'll rotate them. It shows you your success rate. Success rate of a play is got certain conditions. The NFL's actually got measurements for when a play is successful. In certain scenarios, it's expected to get a certain result. Now, certain plays also are kind of expected to get certain amounts of yards. So that could also be a trigger. But really, it's about when you play it. If you play a play that is meant to be a long play, it's supposed to meet certain criteria, but you may have but the game may have different criteria for certain types of plays. So in other words, is a play successful if you have first and 20 and you only gain, or if you had third and 20 and you only gain 10? Pretty much any play that gains 10 yards is a success. Just because that's what, 10 yards is a first down just because you ran it on first, second, and 20. The play did its job. It just didn't produce enough yards for what you're trying to say. So I don't know what the rule is on that. I'll have to look to see how the NFL decides if it's a success. In general, it's expected a success is getting a first down on third. If it's third down, third or fourth down, it has to get a first, or it's a fail. If it's second down, it needs to get 5 or 6 yards, something like that. And if it's first down, you have a smaller window, like 0 to, just has to be 3 to 5 yards or something. It's some basic amount determines success based on down. But I got to come up with a criteria that says, well, yes, but no. right? I mean, I think you can consider a play a success, because really what you're doing is you're coming down to, all right, well, how many plays are designed to be 30-yard plays? A 30-yard play might be everybody who's not going 30 yards is not eligible for the catch, and therefore it has to be, they have to, if you get a catch, it's a success. But if you have eligible check down players, are you going to punish the play because it just didn't work? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to have that kind of stuff in there. You see team mastery here. Team mastery means you have a certain number of players that have mastered the play. The more players that have mastered it, the higher the team mastery is. Team mastery is a result that basically says the play is going to do X well because you've got these many players who've mastered it. Now, players who've mastered a play get a bonus. And the play itself with team mastery will also get a bonus, the higher it gets. So it's all small, very small, little tweaks that come from just getting really good at a play. And if your entire team, it might say like a team mastery bonus for a play might say, I'll just give you an example. Let's say you've got 75% team mastery and you get a bonus of 10. What that is you'll get 7.5. Now all the bonuses are odds improvements towards success. So if that's 10%, which I don't think I'll be giving 10%, that's a lot, but if you get 10% and you're at 75, that means you get a 7.5% bonus on play, on skill checks, certain skill checks maybe, like maybe if it's a run play, you'll get run check bonuses, or you might get block bonuses, or you might get, whatever. You get a slightly bonus perk. But you're only going to get 75% of the maximum that the play can give you. And it's a little perk that helps your players just be better because they know how to do this play. That's the thought. Now, teams that play, but the thing is, it only goes to the players that have mastered it. So at 75%, they're going to get a little bit of a bonus because they have team mastery. But players who do not have play mastery will not get any bonus because they don't have mastery. So if you give 100% bonus, that means everybody on the team is going to get a bonus for running this play. So that's kind of how that's going to work. Average yards, that's going to change. The more the play does, the more average yards it gets. But then I got to figure out how to implement the NFL's got a expected yardage type result. So your average yards, if it's averaging 1, maybe the expected average becomes, 0.8, 0.9, 1, or maybe 1 is the minimum. I don't know. I don't think any play is supposed to get less than a certain amount. Maybe if certain plays are designed for different things. So I'll have to decide what that is. Now, these are not set yet. These are not values because I don't have any simulations going, and a lot of what's happening here gets determined based on simulations. So when you click, it goes back to its spot. And these are all just dummy values until future notice. So now, recently, I decided I needed my roster manager loading. So I put the roster manager in. So now I can now look at those players. You can see they don't have their data loading either. But this data does exist. And I'll fix all those things up correctly. Now you can obviously filter by the positions. This is one of the things I've been wanting to chat with people about. I don't know. I was doing a left alignment, bringing everybody to the left. I don't know if I like that. I'm thinking horizontal, but then I'm trying, how do you compare guys? At position-wise, it doesn't matter. You don't need to compare them, right? But I think what's going to have to happen, I'm just thinking at individual positions, if you're trying to compare them, maybe it's a sort. You can say depth chart and you can edit depth chart by drag and drop maybe, but if it's not depth chart, it's just going to sort by skill, and you can choose the different skills maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to decide how that's going to work. Sometimes you want to look at a couple things at once. I mean, I don't know. I want to be able to add some decent manipulation of this. So these are default characters. I got to finish the team, get some more characters in so it handles. The way players are determined, you can see they don't have their names either. I haven't even loaded their game name. But the way the characters are determined is based on what team drafted them. This is the Tuna Socks. I don't remember what team the Tuna Socks is, but I do know that the V-Born Scorned, this is the Denver Broncos. They have the colors. So the Tuna Socks might actually be the New England Patriots, because based on the colors, I think that might be the New England Patriots who are the Tuna Socks. Tuna Socks, I think, is actually SOCKS. So New England Patriots. Nope. New England Patriots, because there's no K in that. So maybe it's not the Patriots. Who has this colors? Miami Dolphins? Nope. Texans? Maybe it's the Texans, then it is Sox. SOX. This might be the Texans. Tuna Socks. I don't remember what their first name is, though. Capital Island, too? No, Capital Islands Lions. Anyway, this is the Denver Broncos. They are the V-Born Scorned. This player, whoever he is, which I got to get the names fixed, was drafted by the Denver Broncos, and therefore he is a V-Born Scorned. Now, in this game, he may have multiple years of experience, and he may come into the game as whatever. I mean, if it's most likely that any player that comes in, the teams are drafted randomly. Well, there's rules on make sure that they come out kind of balanced. But it does draft players according to skills and all that stuff. So these aren't teams that are built off of actuals. If, in fact, I were to build, I'm thinking I might try to have default where everybody who is on the Denver Broncos at the time this was created could be an option. So you can create a league that's use real teams, makeups, and we'll see what that looks like. I don't know how many players. Some teams, I don't know if they'll fit in the $256 million rule if they're really good, right? Some teams might just have tons of salary cap left over. I don't know what it's going to look like. But for now, we're doing random. First league is only 8 teams. That's your training league. And this is how they all set up. So what I might do is do a row per position. Maybe have that be the trigger that creates a new row. So how many got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got 7. So I'd have 8, 9, 10. So some of these would have more. And this way, when you look at all, you can see all the players. And then what I'm thinking I want to do is allow people to move all as an opportunity to have players change their position. All is where you change positions. Get them out of a particular set. If you want to send a CB to wide receiver, you can drag him up to another row and put him in there. Now, you could theoretically do that partially with other positions like offensive line, wide receivers. I have 7. That's a lot. A lot of guys got a lot of wide receivers drafted. I got 7 of them. But maybe I make sure that players stay on one row. So there's maybe something like that. And then you can sort them. Only problem with that theory is then you get 7. You guys got a bunch of dead space. I'm not big on dead space. So that's kind of where things get interesting. And what if you're like this? There won't be that much dead space here. But you do have a lot of... how do you drag and drop if you can't see the whole row? So I'm going to have to figure out a way to allow for this thing to scroll when you're holding and dragging a player. So that's another thing. Fine, that's it. That takes us to the home page. There are things. This is actually, if you have more than one team, the only way you can get more than one team is to purchase an extra team. I may have special kinds of leagues and teams that you can get a team, you can earn credits to allow you to purchase teams in certain scenarios. Certain types of teams can be purchased with credits that are built up from the game. What's the so basically the idea is that you have these, you can earn purchase credits that allow you to buy the stuff that other people might buy outright because they don't want to go through the effort. Like maybe you want to be in a special kind of league. Well, if you want to be in this league, now there's Champions Leagues, which by the way, you won't be able to buy your way into in any way, shape, or form. You have to earn your way into Champions Leagues. But there might be special event leagues, like I want to do a season league where you test your own coaching skills up against the NFL's coaching skills, and you get the same schedule, you get the same player makeup, and your players adjust according to the way they perform each week. So you're going to have the same kind of players everybody else has, but you're going to see if you can coach them. So you don't really get any real changes. There's no momentum, no improvements that go with those players naturally. So you're just going to get what the NFL's actually performing at. Now, your players obviously do not have real names. They're not real teams. They're not real anything because I don't have licenses. But they are using a replacement name or team to go with, just like the V1 Scorn are the Denver Broncos. Every team is one of the other teams. They just get different names. And the players are not likenesses, can't do likenesses, but they do get names that are similar, like Bo Nix, for example. If I had him in here, which I will when the game releases, because I plan to get more data in for more leagues and seasons. But if you get Bo Nix, it'll be some other Nix. And the first names are scrambled amongst all the other teams. So he'll be some Joseph Nix or whatever, Cortland Nix, RJ Nix, Bo Harvey, and other interesting names that become a scrambled variant of what exists out in the league. So if you're curious, you have questions of where I'm going, I attempted, you see up here in the corner, I have this 3D home screen. The idea is to turn this screen into a 3D screen where the houses are actual assets on a 3D looking view. And I don't know what I'm doing. So there's that. So I could show you what that looks like right now. Oh, wait, what did I do? How come that's still partially showing? Oh, I'm running. Let's turn this off. All right, so we'll go here. And then I got this. That's it. That's my 3D home screen. I have buildings to represent certain types of things. This is going to be a stadium, which is basically going to be my stadium, which you saw on the other screen. I'll be putting that, just dropping it in here some way, somehow. And then I'll put buildings around it and try to build up what looks like a cityscape. And then I'm thinking I might have a home screen that becomes a view screen to that scene. And then you can click on stuff within that view screen. It just allows me to make it smaller, or whatever necessary to fit in the screen is what I'm thinking. So everything shrinks, and then you just get an asset, manipulate, whatever. That's what I'm hoping. I don't know. Maybe I can't do that, but we'll see. Because I already know that my simulator goes through a view screen, which is just a camera view of the whole big picture. And then you can this way I can put stuff on a big giant screen without changing the dimensions of anything. Just drop them on there. And when you click on like the stadium, it'll take you to the sim type selection panel. You decide what kind of game you're going to play, and it takes you to the zoomed in version of that field and shows you that instead. So you'll be looking through a different viewport screen, and it'll let you see what's going on there. So if I click here, you can see kind of what this is supposed to be. You can see it in the sample screen. It's not much. I want to put mountains on here and grass and trees, and you can see this is already supposed to be some kind of a grass. That's a little ways down the road. I'm still working on that. I might not even do it right away. Maybe it's something I do way later. It's not super important. I think it's doable, but here's the other problem. I have no money. No money means I can't buy the assets that represent the buildings. There are some pretty decent assets out there that could do that, and I will probably buy assets. I'm not planning to make them. If anybody wants to volunteer and help me create some of the assets I'm going to need for those, great. But beyond that, I'm going to need to get money to pay for them. So I will be doing a Kickstarter at a point once I have a playable demo, which means this won't be in there yet. I want to get it to look as good as I can for the playable demo, but we'll get there. So there you go. That is where I'm at and where I'm going, and hopefully we are not too terribly far from the world of a demo. But I gotta just keep cleaning them up, adding new features, ad checking in, and eventually we will make good progress. I'm thinking once I get the game plan working good, that is my next goal and objective, and the roster, so I can start adding the game plan, playbook. The roster is not hugely important, but I do want to clean it up, start making it look a little bit more interesting for purposes